Sandy Sherman from MLive and Michigan's Best, and I'm excited to introduce our guest with you and a new series that we're going to be focusing on over the next couple of weeks called Crafted in Michigan. We've got Sandy Anaokar with us from Founders Brewing Co. Sandy, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so excited. I've been a big time fan of Founders for a long time, as everybody who knows me and my love of beer. But what you guys have done over the last couple months in light of the COVID-19 and coronavirus problems is you've introduced a new program to shed a little light on artisans and craftspeople across Michigan called Crafted in Michigan. Sandy, tell me a little bit more about this project.
Yeah, so once the stay-at-home order happened, we didn't feel that consumers or our fans really wanted to hear a big brand message, that there was a lot of people that were impacted this from a health perspective, as well as from an economic perspective, and not being able to get their message out, and primarily small businesses. Over time, we at Founders work with a number of artists. A lot of people on our team have artists that they live with or are married to. And as we started thinking about how we could use our social media channels, our communication methods, the media that we already have available to us, how can we use our resources to help those impacted economically, financially, and the ability to share their messages using the resources that we have. We started discussing a lot about the people that we've worked with in the past, people like Woosah, people like Brambles Woodwork, and we went down this path of Crafted in MI. We being a craft brewery, we really wanted to do something that impacted the crafters in Michigan, both in Grand Rapids, Detroit, and throughout the state. And so then we started reaching out to a number of different businesses. First, we started with the relationships that we had internally, and it sort of snowballed from there.
That's awesome. Now, it's kind of like you're harnessing, you're the VP of marketing at Founders. So it's kind of like you're harnessing the power that of your social media that Founders already had to do a little good for others who might not be as big as you guys are.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what we were aiming to do. And we could talk about beer all day. And that's usually what we do, is we talk about beer all day, but it just didn't feel right in the moment to be doing that when we knew there were a lot of people who had helped us along the way, by crafting art for Founders Fest or things like that, people who created labels for us in the past, that we should be using our megaphone to help.
Well, and when I looked at the list, and people, of course, can go to the Founders website if they want to get the complete list of people that you're currently working with, or if they maybe want to nominate a business that might need a little bit of help, right? But you had a pretty diverse group of businesses that you were working with all across the state, like you said. How did you pick them all? Were they all places that you had worked with before? Because we're talking, you've got like everything from dog biscuits to knives.
Yeah, so it started out with the people that we've worked in the past, people like Beer City Dog Biscuits, people that we've had relationships in the past. And then it really just, as word started getting out about what we were doing, as we started seeing success stories, I think it was just word of mouth that really drove it, that started bringing more businesses to us. And what we wanted to do was have diversity in the type of businesses that we were showing and the type of crafters that we were showing. We wanted to show musicians and food crafters, coffee crafters, artisans, things like that, craft trades like that we could highlight. So I think because we had such initial success, or at least the people that we featured had such initial success, it sort of snowballed for there. And what we wanted to just show is businesses that across a number of different trades that we could highlight.
So what's been Founders' approach in this? Are you simply just promoting them on social media, or are there other tie-ins that Founders is doing?
We're primarily focused on social media with this. We've done some website features and things like that, but primarily social media has been our social media platform has grown to be pretty huge over the last number of years, and it's a credit to our social media team for the impact that they've had. It allows us to do it in a very efficient and effective way to reach our audience. And the other thing is, our audience is super engaged with our brand, and they want to help. They want community outreach. They want to be able to help the artisans and the crafters of Michigan. And so it is really the best way for us to be able to promote these businesses, is that we have a large group of dedicated, altruistic fans who want to be part of this.
Well, it doesn't hurt that a lot of these crafters are making some pretty awesome things.
Yeah, for sure.
That does make it a little bit easier. I know my dogs love the dog biscuits from Beer City Dog Biscuits, and they're so cute because they come in your growler, and you know, it's like you're giving your dogs a beer.
It is, and our one of our owners, Dave Engbers, he loves Beer City dog biscuits. I remember one day he brought the dog biscuits around. I guess it's safe for human consumption too, so he had everybody eating dog biscuits, and it was one of the stranger moments in my marketing career.
It sounds like Dave.
Yeah.
I love that. How many places did you start with, and then how many have you how many do you have now?
We started when we started this, it was really myself and so it was on a Sunday, just to take a step back. It was on a Sunday after the stay-at-home order came down. And we at Founders, we had closed down before then, just in the interest of public safety. But I remember calling our social media manager, Cheka Jasinski, and we were like, what do we do? Who do we help? She's actually married to the owner of Brambles Woodwork. So we started thinking about the artists there. We started immediately, she and her team started reaching out. We probably had a handful that immediately responded and wanted to be a part of this. We've featured, I can't even count right now. I have a list in front of me. It's not itemized, but I think it's probably around 30 or 40 that we've featured. And we've now evolved it to featuring breweries as well. So that's just the artists and crafters that we featured. We've now evolved the message because it's done so well and done so much good. We also wanted to reach out to our brewing community locally. And so now we've evolved the message into breweries that we're featuring.
And I absolutely love that. And I have to say, I didn't know that you were planning on reaching out to the breweries. And I just happened to see it on Twitter one day. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like,
yeah.
What a cool thing for the kind of big brother of Michigan beer to use your platform to help other smaller breweries get their message out, especially right now.
Yeah, and that was the thinking. We had reached out. Our brewmaster Jeremy Kosmicki has a close relationship with a number of the breweries here. He brews with them. He's inspired by them, and we reached out to him to help us with the outreach to other breweries, because we know some of the breweries had to close their tap rooms, as did we. But that's a great financial strain for them and their employees. But they were still offering and are offering curbside. Now things are a lot more open too. But there are a lot of amazing breweries in Michigan, and there's a lot of them that do things that we just can't do. Also on the brewing side, they do amazing sours. They do a number of different capabilities that we wanted to highlight. And so yeah, we wanted to evolve that message to go beyond the artists. And we still are featuring artists. We still are featuring local crafters, but craft, you can't say craft in Michigan without craft beer. And so, yeah, we wanted to highlight those relationships that we've made along the way, all over the state in the beer industry.
I think that's amazing and awesome. And of course, Jeremy came up with that because he's great.
Yeah.
So what has been the response from the artists? What have you heard from some of the people that you have featured at Founders?
It's been great. It's been phenomenal. And it's gone well beyond what we expected. We didn't really realize, it was easy for me to say earlier in this interview, the power of our social media and the power that our fans, and it's really those who follow our social media who've enabled the success of this. We didn't really realize that coming into it. We thought we were doing something good during this time versus just talking about our own brands. We didn't realize how powerful it was going to end up being for a number of these artists. We had one artist reach out, is one of the early ones we featured with Solstice Handmade, who was able to pay off debt that she was unsure she was going to be able to pay off because she wasn't able to sell her wares in shows and at fairs. We've had others reach out to tell us that they sold out within hours of the post, much to the chagrin of some of our employees who tried to order and were immediately told, too bad, we don't have anything to sell to you. So there's been a number of those where we've seen either increases in their own social media following, selling out of their inventory, being able to pay off debt. There's been a number of those success stories that we're really proud of, and we're really excited that we were able to do that.
That's fantastic. So I have to bring up the elephant in the room. Founders has gone through a tough couple months with a lot of hard publicity, a lot of interesting things. And you mentioned the power of your fans and the power of your social media. And I feel like this is a great program, a way to change the narrative a little bit, and maybe regain it back to founders in the sense of your commitment to Michigan, your commitment to the craft, not just the craft beer industry, but crafters in general, and to come back to your fans the way you guys always were, you know, that it was, you know, brewed for you, but enjoyed by everyone. Is there anything you want to say about that and where Founders is moving forward on those issues?
Yeah, you know, it does, like you said, it does change the conversation, but it's not something that, okay, good, we're free of everything. You know, we're completely mindful of that. And I think we've done one of the things that we have done during all of the Crafted in MI campaign is that we did make significant donations to a number of organizations, including Black Lives Matter. We've also made a number of changes internally. We've hired a new diversity, equity, and inclusion director. We're having an employee-led transformation of our internal diversity, equity, inclusion practices. We will share that selectively, especially once we have results. We will continue to donate to those platforms and funds that are making great social change. And that's not going to go away just because we've had positive PR from one thing. We realize that there's a number of things that not only we need to and can change internally, but there's a lot of good that we can do in the community, despite what public perception may be in pockets of whether we should be part of that conversation or not because of the perception of our PR challenges and what we experienced and what we have been a part of over, as you mentioned, the rough couple months that we had. It's never too late to do the right thing, and that's the way that we are operating. And regardless if anyone feels that we should or shouldn't, we want to do the right thing. And the change starts internally, but when we have those opportunities to do external good, we will continue to do those. I
love that. And now that the Detroit tap room is reopened, both of your tap rooms are reopened, we should say, both Grand Rapids and Detroit.
Yes, both are open.
One of your commitments was that for a whole year, all the proceeds from the Detroit tap room were...
Yep. For 2 years. Yep. Yes, for 2 years.
Excuse me, I was wrong.
Yes.
And you're still planning on donating that money, correct?
Absolutely. That's still the plan. That's always been. Unfortunately, we opened. We had a great opening. We have a great new general manager there, and then unfortunately we had to close our tap rooms down because of the pandemic. But we are back open. That commitment remains that we will continue to donate our profits from that facility to local charities in the Detroit area.
Well, you guys you were, part of the conversation. So in my mind, you still need to be a part of the conversation every day in every way. And yeah, I agree that, change, it needs to happen, and it is happening, whether it's small incremental things, but your support of these artisans and of the craft beer industry continues. And people I know are probably excited to be coming back to Founders and getting to drink. I know I want to come back and drink some beer. Out of these artisans that you guys are focusing on and crafted in Michigan, do you have a favorite, Sandy?
So I am a little bit and I'm looking at the list because it's hard for me to choose. So Rich and Maple is Kate Cook used to work at Founders. And so she left to pursue her dream to make these candles. They are the best smelling candles. They completely fill the room. So I love that. And then Mokayo Chocolates is one that I frequent. It's a very guilty pleasure for me. It's a good way to get the kids out of the house and sneak a hot chocolate to them. Mom doesn't love that, but the chocolates are so good. So it is a bit of a guilty pleasure for me.
Mokayo's, it's a great pleasure. What are you talking about?
It is a great pleasure, but it's very simple, I think. I don't know.
Cool. I'm personally really intrigued by the I don't know how to say it, Nicolad's knives, because I'm a chef, yeah. So I'm like, oh, those sound really cool.
They are extremely high end. So it was a little bit out of my price, but they did really well through the sale. And yeah, I would love one of their knives because they just look amazing. It's almost like they're so beautiful you don't want to use them.
They're stunt knives. You just put them out on display. And
yeah, right. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, like we mentioned earlier, people can nominate other businesses, other crafts people across Michigan. And how do they go about that process, Sandy?
I think one of the easiest ways to do that is to direct message us on social media, reach out that way. We've had a number of people do that, and that's where we found a lot of the businesses that we've supported. and we encourage any brewers as well who if you haven't heard from us, please reach out that way as well.
I like it. Well, if people want to get more information about the Crafted in Michigan program, Sandy, where should they go?
They can go to foundersbrewing.com. They can also just go to our social media page. We have a number of posts there that explain the #Crafted in Michigan campaign. So yeah, you have two avenues there.
I like it. Well, if you want to learn more about this great program, Crafted in Michigan, brought to you by Founders Brewing Company, we're going to be bringing a series of stories and podcasts to you over the next few weeks. So if you want to learn more, head to mlive.com.